Hello, beautiful soul, and thank you for being here to celebrate the goddess in her form as 𝑓𝑇𝑳𝑋𝑓. If you are joining me during Navratri, a blessed and beautiful day or night 6 of Navratri to you. Remember that you can click the playlist linked in the video description to learn about and connect with the other forms of Navadurga and the other days of Navratri. But let's get started telling the tale of 𝑓𝑇𝑳𝑋𝑓 because she actually has several different creation myths, and her story is told and retold through several different Puranas. So we're going to go over a brief introduction to her, and I first want to let you know that if you are battling something in your life, if you are striving for great knowledge, if you are seeking the expansion of your consciousness through knowledge and wisdom over ignorance, 𝑓𝑇𝑳𝑋𝑓 is the warrior for you. She has overcome so much, and she killed so many demons to symbolize how through knowledge and through the quest for knowledge and power, we overcome ignorance and its friends. So let's connect with her more and tell you some more of her story. The main Puranas that tell her story are the Vamana Purana and the Skanda Purana. Now, yesterday we visited with the goddess in her form as 𝑓𝑇𝑳𝑋𝑓. So remember, Skanda is the god of war, the son of Ma Parvati in one of her forms, and Lord Shiva. And I most resonate with her story in terms of the Vamana Purana, but I encourage you to seek out the others as well if you would like to become a pure devotee of her. Basically, where our story begins is that there was a sage known as Katyayana who was a great devotee of Shakti. Now remember, all forms of Durga are forms of Shakti, meaning feminine power. And as a devotee, this sage prayed for the majority of his lifetime for the next time that the goddess chose to incarnate, for her to incarnate as his daughter. And when circumstances arose in the world that called for her next avatar or her next incarnation to be born, she of course granted his wish and became his daughter, which is why she took on the name 𝑘atyayani as a way to express appreciation for him presenting a door for her to come into this world. It is also said that the gods were in great distress because of a buffalo asura demon who was wreaking havoc on all three worlds. The gods' devotees were being bullied and killed, and they were constantly praying to Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma, as well as other gods, for the resolve and the removal of this asura buffalo demon from their worlds. So it's said that when the goddess needed to come back to earth, needed to incarnate again, she was not only created from the prayers of 𝑘atyayana, but her essence became birthed into this world and was made able to be born to 𝑘atyayana by the anger of the three main gods, Lord Vishnu, Lord Shiva, and Lord Brahma, combining together. From the distress that they felt from this demon wreaking havoc on the three worlds and so many of their children, 𝑘atyayani was created. She was created out of anger. And I felt that so powerfully because so often as light workers, as knowledge seekers, we devalue anger because we don't want to be controlled by it, which is very admirable. However, a lot of light workers that I know either struggle to contain their anger or struggle to feel it and allow themselves to feel it or make good use of it rather than try to suppress it and push it down. So I wanted to tell this part of the story with Goddess 𝑘atyayani because she was in part created from anger from three of the most powerful beings in the universe. Yet she was able to put that to good use. So let's talk about how she was able to put it to good use. She was made from the three gods and their three eyes. So it is said that she birthed into being refulgent as 1,000 suns, having three eyes, black hair, and the number of arms she has changes depending on her needs and depending on the tale of the story. But it is said between 2, 4, 12, or as many as 18 arms. And then she was gifted items from the three 𝑓𝑋𝑔𝑔𝑔𝑚𝑒𝑟𝑇ℎ gods. So Lord Shiva gave her his trident, as you will so often see with the goddess Durga. She and Shiva both use the trident or the 𝑇̑�𝑋𝑔𝑔𝑚𝑒𝑟𝑇ℎ. Lord Vishnu gave her the discus or a chakra. Now, I know we know chakras from their position as energy spheres within our bodies, but the chakra is also another name for the discus weapon that is so popular with Lord Vishnu. And if you check out some of the other Navadurga videos, you will see sometimes she is holding this discus. She was also gifted a conch shell, which is sacred to Lord Vishnu as well. The god Agni of fire gave her a sacred dart. The god Vayu gave her a bow. Surya, the sun god, gave her a quiver full of arrows to use with the bow. And Lord Indra gave her a thunderbolt. Kuvara, another god, gave her a mace. And Lord Brahma gave her a rosary and a water pot. Kala gave her a sword and a shield, and 𝑉𝑌𝑆𝑐𝑎𝑟𝑚A gave her a battle axe, as well as some other weapons that she was gifted from the gods. Now, it is said that this version of the goddess was so incredibly beautiful. She was really stunning. And this anger and this power of all the gods combining their gifts or their weapons to help create her and bring her into the world, as well as, in my opinion, the love that 𝑘athayana, her birth father, gave to her and the devotion that he had for her even before she was born, enabled a lot of this beauty, and she cultivated that beauty. She grew, and she grew quite quickly, moved through the world, which was being realistically controlled at that point by this buffalo demon and other asura demons. He at that point was their king, and he was unaware that this was the goddess born into human form, but she was so breathtakingly beautiful that the asuras, demons, his subjects, started speaking about him to her and started speaking about her to him, and they talked her up to this demon king, and he wanted her for his own. He wanted to marry her, so he approached her and told her that he wanted her as his queen. And she said that it was her family's tradition that he can only take her as his queen if he defeated her in battle. And this is where she truly shined, because she went into this battle and he brought an army of his asura demons in battle with him, and she defeated all but a few of those demons. It is said in some of the other Purana tellings that at that time, when there were only a couple of demons left, which were the friends of ignorance, right? So they were laziness or greed. They came in other Sanskrit names, of course, but they were representations of the friends and the things that go along with ignorance. And it is said that when she defeated this entire army, save a few, the other forms of goddess or the other forms of Shakti came to join her. Now, in some other tellings of this story, it is said that for every time she struck the demon king, his blood became another demon when it landed upon the earth, which is also why there is this combination aspect of this form of goddess that says goddess Kali came out. Some tellings say that goddess Lakshmi came out. Some say even Saraswati, who is not generally known as a warrior, came out, and the the other goddesses rather, came and helped her defeat these remaining Asura demons, while the demon king took on his form as a giant buffalo, and 𝑇̑𓋹�� jumped upon his back. He could not shake her off, and then she grew in size and put her foot upon his neck and struck him with her trident or her 𝑓𝑇̑𓋹��, in fact, killing him, defeating him and the army of Asura demons throughout all of the worlds. In some cases, it is said that Mahakali came out, or 𝑇̑�𓋹�� came out, which is a form of 𝑘ātyayanī, and every drop of the king's blood during their battle and during her striking him, she was able to drink up or absorb to make sure that no further demons were spreading. I quite like that story because I work with the goddess Sekhmet in Egyptian pantheon very, very deeply. I also do Sekhem energy healing, and I have always known Sekhmet and Durga to be the same goddess in different pantheon form and in different time periods of her coming to our world under different names. And so this is a version that we can resonate very strongly with Sekhmet as well, due to that ability to drink up that tainted or that dark blood and turn it into something positive. She was said to create a tank of nectar as well, to alleviate the power of that blood and rejuvenate soldiers. There are many temples that belong to her throughout the world. It is said that she also gave some aspects of royal family swords to expedite their power against darkness, demons, or ignorance. So she has a great history of worship throughout several areas of the world, not only in India. And she's also quite well known in Tantra work. She is known as a north face, one of the 6 faces of God Shiva. And of course, Shiva Shaktiism is quite prevalent in Tantra, or most people would not be familiar with Tantra. They would be more familiar with the word or the term Kama Sutra. Tantra is a higher religious practice, but it's sort of the same premise. It's sacred sexuality and its power over one's own kundalini. She is also linked to the third eye chakra. So we have been, throughout these Navadurga videos, working our way up the chakra system with these different goddesses. And so yesterday we were connected in with the throat chakra, or the Vishuddha chakra, and today we are linked in on the 6th day of Navratri with the 6th chakra, or the third eye chakra. So that is why you can see in this illustration of her, there is some extra light coming out of her third eye. Although she is a fierce warrior, she is a warrior of knowledge and wisdom and higher consciousness. And of course, she also sprang from the anger of the Trimurti gods and their knowledge and power combined from their 3 eyes. Now, the third eye from gods of the Trimurti in Hinduism is also said to have released power akin to nuclear power, or most probably even greater than nuclear power. So it also stands to reason that a lot of her power came from the third eye. Now, whether you want to believe or tap into the belief that it came from the third eye as an energy center, or it is easier for you to believe that the power came from the knowledge that she had because of having an open third eye, either of those can be right, and that is really up to you in terms of what you resonate with more. Through these videos, we've also been going over her sacred color, the sacred color of Navratri of that day. So 𝑘ātyayanī's sacred color, or the 6th day of Navatri's sacred color, is red. Now, I resonate the color red with Durga very often, and many of her forms, if you see her in more modern art depiction, she will be wearing a red sari. However, That's also dependent, of course, on the artist and on the aspect of Navadurga that is presenting. For example, Brahmacharini is almost always presented wearing a white sari for purity. So you can go back to day 2 if you want to learn more about Brahmacharini. But, my loves, that is the story of 𝑓 that I wanted to share with you today. Of course, there is so much more. As I said, she shows up in several of the Puranas or sacred texts, and there are many different retellings of her story. But remember that you can connect with her anytime, even if you have never worked with her before. Her vehicle, by the way, is also almost always the lion. I know several forms of Durga flip-flop between whether she's presenting on or riding the lion or the tiger. In this instance, she's almost always seen on a mount of the lion. Another reference to her links, in my opinion, to the goddess Sekhmet. And a planet that is very often associated with her, by the way, is the planet of Jupiter, the planet of expansion, the planet of good luck and prosperity. So remember that even though she was birthed into being in a time where the worlds were being ravaged by this evil darkness and ignorance, she was able to expand that through the power of the third eye. So if you feel that you have been bogged down by psychic attack or by darkness or by the wars between light and dark, if you subscribe to that theory and that practice, or your own duality or the world's duality, I recommend looking into Goddess 𝑓 and her ability to be a warrior in the face of that and always be triumphant in the face of that. Because although there are several tellings of her story, she is always triumphant. There is one story, one part of her story where in one of the tellings she does not kill the demon, but she in fact forgives him. But even in that story, she is triumphant over him. He and his darkness are defeated, and the 𝑇̑�𓋹𓓓𓋴 and the, let's say, positive gods are put back in power, and the demon armies are released and removed from our worlds. So I hope that that encourages you today in your practice, whatever that is, whether you've resonated with Hinduism or not. I myself, as you probably know, work with several different pantheons and many different religions throughout the world. I find that important for me in my practice, but you do you. Whatever you're called to, whatever god or goddess or part of source that you work with is the right version for you. And I am so glad that you took the time today to get to know the goddess 𝑘ātyayani with me. If you feel called to work with me spiritually, you can do so by visiting the links in the description for my website, Damsel Designs, 𝑑amcl designs.com, where you can find spiritual sessions with me, such as quantum and Akashic Records readings and more. On there, you will also find energy art and enlightened merch items. I also have a Durga Devi and Kushmanda goddess enlightened merch collections. Those things are all linked in the video description, along with the playlist for you to connect with other aspects of the Navadurga. And if you would like to take this even further than session work, you can also use the contact for consult link in the video description or on my website to contact me and see if we are a good fit for you to apply for one of my quantum energy healing and quantum Sekhem energy healing containers, or life and consciousness coaching, magical mentorship. It's really up to you. We build those on a one-to-one personalized basis based on your soul's needs at the time, and they are transformation containers. So I would be very pleased to work with more of you in that capacity, especially those of you who are goddess inclined. I think that will be a wonderful fit. But with that, I am going to close out this day. Remember to tune back in to the next video in this series, where we are connecting with Goddess Kali, Mama Kali, and I hope to see you next time. Give this a like or a subscribe if it resonated, and share this with someone that will find it helpful. And thanks again for being here with Love, Light, and Light Codes. Love, Danielle, #Damsel, at 𝑑amsel of damseldesigns.com. Bye for now. Be blessed.